my name is Jon Johnson. Coming at you with another video. This video is going to be about how to get buyers off the fence for agents. There's a lot of buyers out there in the market who, let's say, they were very motivated a year ago, 2 years ago, 6 months ago, or they hadn't even started the process yet. But they're just kind of sitting on the fence. They're listening to a lot of news, they're listening to a lot of things from parents, relatives, etc., to where they are not, even though they have motivation to be able to get another property or get their first property, they're not making that jump because of these other factors. So we're giving some information today about how to get off the fence, or as an agent to help your buyers get off the fence. All right. Next slide, please. So the goal of this YouTube page and also for my business is mainly just to help people become debt-free through home ownership. So that's my main goal. That's what I want to be able to do. That's why I'm hosting this video and do all of my other videos. Next slide, please. So why am I creating this specific video? The news is constantly giving false information, scaring buyers out of home ownership. So these are random news clippings over the last 6 years about the market that we're in when it comes to home buying. And when it comes down to it, all of these news headlines are all completely false. So 2015, housing today, a bubble larger than 2006. 2016, we're in a new housing bubble. 2017, home ownership doesn't build wealth, study finds. 2018, it's better to rent than to buy in today's housing market. 2019, the housing market is about to shift in a bad way for buyers. 2019, next year will be hard on the housing market, especially in these big cities. 2021, housing boom is over as new home sales fall to pandemic low. I could go into details for every single last one of these on how they're incorrect, but when it comes down to it, home values have been going up over the past 56 years. And there's only been one point in time when it's actually going down, and that was 2008. And that is because the market, there was no equity in the home buying market, meaning people were able to refinance and pull out more cash than was actually even available in their house. People were able to get homes with no down, with only interest-only payments, which means that just like with student loans, the actual principal balance is going up on them. Those have not been in process since that period of time. So people have only gained equity in their homes. So overall, if any home buyers were to listen to these news over the past few years, they would be in a worse off position if they were not involved, because they would have missed out on all the equity they would have built. Another point as well, when it comes down to buying a home, someone's renting, and Gabriella, who's also assisting right now, she's mentioned before, and kind of taking a hold of this, is if you're renting, then 100% of what you're paying is going towards the rent. You're paying 100% interest. So whether interest rates right now, 5%, 10%, 15%, it's always better if you can afford the monthly payments to purchase than to rent for 99% of it. Once again, I do also have Gabriella here. She's assisting. Ariana, she's here as well. She's newer to our team. Any questions, just let me know. I'll be able to stop, be able to answer questions. But next slide, please. 3 steps to getting buyers off the fence. Step 1, know the buyer's why. Step 2, have a consistent follow-up plan. Step 3, have quick rebuttals and flyers for common objections. Next slide, please. Step 1, know the buyer's why. This is the easiest step, and it's the most important step. Anytime you speak to a buyer or get to a point where you're talking to a buyer's consultation, or even if you just be in a random meeting that you have with the person, the most important thing is going to be, what is that buyer's why for purchasing a home? Once you know the buyer's why, at any point in time in the process, because the real estate process is not smooth or completely smooth for majority of buyers. You got to first get pre-approved, and sometimes you got to find documents, pass, pay stubs, W-2s, things of that nature, just to get to the pre-approval part. Then once you're actually pre-approved, you could be looking for a home for weeks, a few months. They have some buyers recently have to look for a home over the past past year. And during this period of time, they're going to have ups and downs about how they feel in the market. I just showed you all the news clippings. They're getting that every single day. Every single day, they're getting bombarded with news about how buying a home could potentially be a bad situation. When it comes down to it, the actual stats say completely different. So step one, know the buyer's why. In your consultation, make sure you ask them about their why. Record that so you can always be able to pull that out whenever they ask. And then you're contacting your phone, just make sure you say that so you can easily be able to speak on it. Next slide, please. Step two, have a consistent follow-up plan. Like I just said, the news is pumping that information on a daily basis. You don't have to contact the buyers every single day, but they need to hear from you. They need to hear from yourself as real estate agents. They need to hear from people like myself who's in the mortgage industry to get the actual real information and the real data, because the news is in the market for making people get emotional and clickbait, things of that nature. They're not in the market to actually give you what's happening with real estate and mortgages. Next slide, please. So a few different ways to follow up. One way, monthly newsletter. I use this. I send this out to agents, past buyers of mine. Anyone who's pretty much in my sphere gets this monthly newsletter. You as an agent, it can include some couple of photos that you've done over the past month in the market, where you're going to certain events. But in general, you want to be able to have some information about some things that have happened to keep your buyers up to date with some of those big topics. Next step, emergency updates. These can be sent to your buyers when a big news event happens. For example, interest rates dropped, a percentage point. You might want to let your buyers know that. That way, if they're on the fence, it gets them off of the fence. Or if they're in the market, but they're kind of, being slow to move on properties. If interest rates drop very rapidly, it could be time to really put in some offers to be able to capitalize on that. You never know where those interest rates are going to go. If a new document assistance program comes up, for example, it is June 2022 right now. There's a new Save It Forward program called the Home Buyers, the Hometown Heroes program. So that was a new event that happened. So instead of waiting for my monthly newsletter to go out, I went out to my database and I shot that out because that's something that many buyers can be able to utilize right now. It gets buyers that are already pre-approved, that are taking their time off the fence, and it gets buyers who haven't even started the pre-approval process to at least try to get that done, just because they want to be able to make sure they can get these programs. Because, like I said, with interest rates, those don't always stay low; they'll go back up. So you want to capitalize when they're at the lowest points. And with those programs, you never know how much they're going to have. That down payment assistance program I just mentioned, it has $100 million in its funds. They say that they'll keep on re-upping it, but you never know how fast that can go. That could be going in 6 months, it could be going in 1 year. But if you're someone that can be able to qualify for it, you definitely want to be able to jump in and benefit from it. Weekly flyers. You can be able to send out a flyer weekly to your database to be able to keep them up to date with what's going on. It needs to be simple and easy with a graphic. I know my team, we can be able to do that for agents. And you have some other lenders that can do it for you as well. There's many different ways you can be able to find these weekly flyers that are simple and easy to send out either an email or on one of your socials. The main thing is the buyers are getting the real estate information from you and not false information that's meant to scare buyers from the news. Next slide, please. All right, ways to follow up, continue. Have a social media plan. You've heard it a million times over the past 5 to 10 years. Have a social media plan, have a social media plan. I mean, you have to. That's where everyone's at. That's where, everyone is their own news agency. And your news agency is what you're posting on social. So you want to be able to make sure that what you're posting on there, people want to see your kids and your family. So make sure that you're doing that for majority of things, or if you're going on vacations, etc. But every once in a while, be able to throw some mortgage news out there just to be able to get people to understand that, one, yes, you're also a real estate agent, but also two, they're getting that news from you. So pick a social media platform or two. Facebook is your go-to, pick that. Instagram is your go-to, pick that. Pick both, but have at least one of those. If you're a passive agent, then you can post a flyer once a week with quick, helpful information. For example, for myself, I like to keep my information 95% about myself and my family. I try to keep it real simple and easy. I know why people follow me on Facebook. It's because they want to go and see kids. They don't want to see me anymore. So I make sure I'm posting about kids and whatnot all the time. But I do also make sure I throw out useful information from mortgage, real estate, etc. Just because I want people to understand that I can be their go-to for these news and information, and just to kind of dispel that stuff that the news is saying as well. If you are an aggressive person, then you can post daily. You can post daily in the stories, post daily on your actual feed. You may lose some followers by posting daily about, mortgage, real estate, etc. But the people that actually care about you, the people that actually want to support you, they will continue to follow you. And when it's time for them to be able to make, when they have questions about real estate, they come towards you. When they want to be able to buy a property, they come towards you because you're always posting about it. So sending information works two ways. Keeps your friends and family informed with correct real estate information, and it continues to remind friends and family that you are in the business. Next slide, please.
John, so I had an actual comment question as well regarding this. So as part of, helping buyers get off the fence, these are all great tips for social media. And it also kind of, reinforces some of the stuff that, agents have already heard on, from many different people, is that, to be a source of information for your buyers, your clients, your past clients as well, and staying constantly top of mind. So my question to you is that, everybody has their own social media strategy. Even if you have no social media strategy, that is your strategy when you don't have one. So besides social media, you also use newsletter as well. Is there any other means that you actually reach out besides just social media and newsletter and emails?
Sure. Right now, posting a video.
There you go.
So videos are very important because people can be more engaged, see you. It's more interactive. I can be able to send a lot of information in a 15-minute video compared to one little tiny flyer. So videos are very important. It's pretty nice too because people can watch them whenever they want to watch them. I've done many live classes in the past. Those are nice, but it's like you got to show up at the right time, be there, etc. So they work when you're doing them that way. But I like YouTube, video, etc. because whether somebody is right now at 11 o'clock,
Yeah.
morning right now, they could be able to watch it at this point in time. If someone likes to watch videos during dinner time, they can watch it at that point in time. If morning time, they can be able to save the video and watch it later. But the video is a great way to be able to do it because you can be able to give out more information and people can be able to watch them whenever they want to watch them. Do you have any recommendations or suggestions?
Oh, no, I was actually just wanting to, to bring that up is that, by also sharing just like written media and social media posts and stuff, how video is also very important for realtors to get their face, especially when they've had past clients that they have built a rapport and relationship with that, that they remember like, oh, I'm going to use you as a realtor example. Like, oh, I remember when I worked with Jon Johnson as my realtor, and he just, sent me a video letting me know about these updates on interest rates or about this new program. Well, my neighbor might be looking into something like that. So, it's also a way for a person to share like, yeah, I worked with this realtor and this is the content, and also to share that. But it also solidifies your knowledge base in the industry. And as realtors, they are the go-tos for that client. And if they don't continue those relationships, then somebody else is going to come in and build that relationship for them.
Sure. We have to train them to be the go-to.
Yeah.
Because buyers don't get a choice. As soon as they pop on Facebook, CNBC, etc., they're getting trained by these media outlets for what's happening in real estate.
Yeah.
And over the past couple of months, it's been very consistent that buyers' information about how all this works has been completely wrong. From thinking that, home buying markets crash. Almost everybody thinks that, oh, it's going to crash.
Yes.
It's supposed to crash. That's normal happens. It's like stock markets. That's not how home markets work. At least in the United States, they don't crash. They crashed one time, 14 years ago, which I already explained. But in general, over the last, 7 of the last 8 recessions, it just kept on either being neutral or going up during those periods of time, and many other different versions of news. So we have to train the buyers to be able to see us, mortgage officials, and also real estate agents as the main person for news and information when it comes to real estate. All right. Next slide, please. So to recap so far, step one, know the buyer's why. That's the simplest and easiest. As soon as you're talking to someone, you can easily get their why. Hey, why are you doing this now versus 6 months ago, a year ago, 2 years ago? Why is now the time for you? Whatever they tell you, record it. Always have that available to be able to get them off the fence, whether they're already pre-approved or not pre-approved. Having that why is important. Step two, have a consistent follow-up plan. I spoke on a few different things, especially social media, but whatever you're doing, including emails, newsletters, things of that nature, whatever you're doing, make it consistent to where your buyers are hearing from you once a week, once every day if you're aggressive, once a month. Like, it's got to be consistent. All right, so step three is going to be have quick rebuttals and flyers for common objections. There's going to be 3, 4, 5 objections that you're going to hear if you're active in this business. You're going to hear these objections over and over and over again. So being able to have certain scripts or quick rebuttals you can be able to say, and also quick flyers that you already have saved, it's going to be great for you as well. So thank you, Gabrielle. I see you already went to the next slide. So some common misconceptions holding buyers back. Interest rates are too high. Home prices are too high. No homes available in my location. You need some quick rebuttals to comment these common statements. That's probably going to be 90% of what they're going to say to you. And so next slide, please. So misconception, interest rates are too high. Quick rebuttal. If there's someone that's renting, like I said earlier, something you better say is, hey, you're currently paying 100% interest while renting. As long as the monthly payments work for you or your family, then I recommend to continue searching for a home. Quick and easy, get it back into, we're trying to find you a home by searching for a property. Rebuttal, if they already own a home, and they talk about interest rates being too high, well, interest rates are still lower than historical averages. And then you go into their big why once again. If this is most important to you, then we can continue working to help find you a lender or a program that works best for you in this market. Have the quick rebuttals, get them back on track to either finding them, get pre-approved, or we're trying to find you this property, what type of property location, etc. We got to be able to use to help assist you. All right, next slide, please. So here's a flyer that you can be able to use, or at least a photo. So if you take a screenshot of this photo, or if you reach out to myself, I have information in the descriptions where you can reach out to me. Have something quick like this that you can be able to, the buyer should shoot a text. You hit them with that reply, and you just shoot them this photo, because a picture would tell 1,000 words. Or if you have somebody in person that's telling you certain things, you can easily, within 5 seconds, go to a certain album on your phone, pull out this photo and say, hey, I hear what you're saying right now, but this is what interest rates have looked like over the past however many years. Historically, we are still at some of the lowest interest rates of all time. So if your main goal is to purchase a home, then I still highly recommend you look for a home that will get you in certain programs that will work out best for you, etc. You keep the conversation moving. You take care of the rebuttal, you keep the conversation moving. Next slide, please. Flyer rebuttal for home prices being too high. So if they tell you that home prices are too high, your rebuttal could be, hey, Mr. and Mrs. Buyer, historically home prices continue to increase. You tell them their why once again. If this is still the most important thing for you, then I recommend we continue finding a home now rather than later once the pricing is going up again. And once again, you don't have to say a lot. If you say a quick little statement, show them this graph, they'll stare at it for 10 seconds. The members are going to be able to sell them for you. But you got to have this readily available. You can say I'll get back to you, but if you have this stuff quickly to where a buyer doesn't have to think about the rebuttal, it makes it to where you can become more of the expert and you can keep the conversations going towards finding a home. Next slide, please. Flyer rebuttal to no homes available in my location. One quick rebuttal, you can better say to them, hey, Mr. and Mrs. Buyer, there are homes available in your location, but they are off the market quickly. So are you willing to put in an offer within a couple of days of the home coming on the market? You got to be able to tailor these conversations towards what's really going on. homes are showing up in every location, but they're not staying on the market very quickly. So you want to be able to make sure they understand how quickly these homes are coming off the market. And having a photo like this shows you that, hey, when it comes to over the last, 10 years, homes are coming off the market quicker than almost any other, than they have in the past 10 years. Go ahead, Gabriella.
So I liked what you said about, putting in perspective to the buyer and actually putting it to context, like, how soon are you actually ready to buy when they're saying there's no homes in my area. And this also kind of goes back into, into our realm of the pre-approvals and making sure that the client is properly, we have all the documentation, they are genuinely pre-approved, not pre-qualified, so that they can have strong offers ready to go. So in this situation, and just especially more so now, the realtor, lender, and client relationship is going to be the most paramount, because having the client commit to the buying process that they're ready to act quickly, then from the lender perspective, from like our side, is that, we're making sure that we have all of their documentation so that when the listing agent calls about their offer, that we're ready to go, or we're calling the listing agent, ahead of time. So what else can you maybe add to that kind of dynamic? Because you're right, inventory may not be available that the client's looking for, but if the client is committed to that buying process, can you dive into a little bit more of that relationship so that the realtors can leverage the lender for this?
Sure. Leverage us. One, you have to have a ton of conversation with the buyer before they're pre-approved. The main goal is, hey, are you in the market? Are you trying to purchase a property? Let me get you in touch with our lender. At that point in time, either include them in a group text or a group email. That way it is a warm handoff towards the lender. Normally we can have these pre-approvals within 24 hours of having an online application filled out. So that's step one, is the pre-approval process. Get that knocked out as quickly as possible. As soon as the buyer tells you that, they're ready, you don't know how hot they're going to be for what period of time. So they may be only ready for one day. And if you don't get them in that one day, they're demotivated, crazy stuff happening with kids, parents sick. They're not thinking about buying a home for another 6 months, or it could be a couple of days, a couple of weeks. You got to, as soon as they're hot, they tell you they're hot, get them to the lender. We're trying to get them pre-approved within 24 hours. Once they're pre-approved, now we're doing the fun part, which is finding a home. But it's also us as lenders, especially from our team and what we do with our company, is we're trying to send these files into underwriters to be conditionally approved by underwriters ahead of time, to make the offer even more like cash, to make it to where, once they're actually under contract, it's a little bit smoother process for those buyers. So there's things we can be able to do, and it keeps them motivated to during the time as well. It keeps them off the fence. If, they got the pre-approval letter, but now we're asking for additional documents. We're letting them know that their loan is now processing, their loan is now in underwriting, it's now conditionally approved. It makes it to where it's a slightly longer process in the beginning, but it makes it to where they get more off the fence, they're more motivated because they're offering more like cash, and it makes it a smoother process overall for them. Cool. Next slide, please. And we only got like 2 more, so we're almost out here. Other standard statements that keep buyers on the fence: have these scripts ready to go when a buyer hits you with one of these rebuttals. My credit is too low. Understood, Mr. and Mrs. Buyer. As long as your credit is above a 580, and we may have some programs for you, do you mind if I include you in a group text or email with my link? Keep it simple, keep it easy, get them over to us. These are rebuttals that buyers may say before they're even pre-approved. The second one is, I don't have enough money saved. Understood, Mr. and Mrs. Buyer. There are many down payment assistance programs. Do you mind if I include you in a group text email with my lender so we see what programs you can potentially qualify for? So buyers are going to be on the fence at many different places in the process. The goal is, if they aren't pre-approved, we quickly get them to where they're pre-approved off the fence. You can use these rebuttals, tag them in with the lender to be able to get them off the fence. Once they're pre-approved, then you're going to have to be able to keep them happy and hot and ready to go throughout the rest of the process, which is what I've included earlier on the video. Next slide, please. If you need some additional daily stats to be able to share to your buyers, or even to your Facebook feeds, etc. One that I like a lot is, if you go on Twitter and type in NAR Research Twitter. It's free, and they always have constant graphs, information you can be able to share. And NAR, National Association of Real Estate Realtors, is a great place to go. Won't that cost, but it gives you a very nice flyer on a daily basis. It's something that's always shareable daily. Is keeping current matters. I highly recommend that if you don't mind spending a little bit on a monthly basis to be able to get something that's shareable on a daily. It'll give you something for at least 3 to 4 times a week. If you're trying to be more aggressive, you have something you can share with your actual customers and database. But overall, next slide. That's about it. What questions? Any questions?
No, I think you've covered everything pretty well. I hope everybody that watches this video reaches out to you, which you're going to provide your contact information as well. And yeah, great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have a great day.